Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today we will be covering lesson 3, factoring trinomials of x squared plus bx plus c. So, factoring is an important component of Pre-Calc 11. The ability to break down a number into its factors is a powerful means of simplifying expressions as well as understanding how an equation works. Factoring a number can be done a variety of ways. However, factoring a polynomial expression that largely has only variables is predominantly done only one way and can be a bit more complicated. So, let's look at examples of factoring here. First number we have is 12. We can break this down using prime factorization. Okay, so 12 can be broken down into 4 times 3. And then 4 can be further broken down into 2 times 2. This is its factor form. This is 2 times 2 times 3. All right? Let's look at x cubed. This x cubed can be broken down into its factors x squared times x. X squared can be further broken down into x times x. So the factored form of x cubed is x times x times x. All right. Now let's look at here. Here we have 6x squared plus 3x. This can be broken down into 3x and 2x plus 1. And then 3x can be further broken down into 3x, 3 times x, right? So this is its final factored form. It is 3 times x times 2x plus 1, right? Moving on, this one. So this is a trinomial. And how do we factor this? Let's continue. Factoring a trinomial of the second degree, the largest exponent is equal to 2, follows a specific pattern. Knowing this pattern, we can apply a simple method to factor them. Recall that when multiplying binomials by each other, we follow the FOIL method. First, outer, inner, and last. So here I will use different colors to represent this FOIL method. So when we are multiplying these two together, we multiply first x and x. This is first. This is the F of FOIL. Next, we do the outer ones. So here we have x times b. Outer. This is the O of FOIL. And then the next ones, so FOIL, F-O-I. So this will be inner. These two will be multiplied together. The most inner terms. This is the I of FOIL. And then the last one is last, the L. Last two numbers. Last, all right? So I'll revert back to my colors. So this is equal to, when we multiply the first two numbers here, x and x, this will be x times x in brackets plus here outer, the two outer numbers here, x and b, plus x times b plus here we multiply the two inner terms here, the two inner numbers I should say, a times x here. So this will be a times x. And then plus the last two numbers here, a and b. plus a times b. A times b. This is equal to, this is equal to x squared, right? X times x is x squared plus bx, right? X times b is bx. And then here, plus a times x is ax, right? And then we have the ab. A times b is ab. All right, and this can be further broken down into x squared plus, we can factor out the x here, so it will be a plus b times x, right? A times x plus b times x, right? If we had expanded that, right? A times x plus b times x here. A times x, b times x. And then we add the final two, no, the final term here, ab. All right, so this is when we expand these two factors here. This is what we get. This demonstrates that, 1, the product of x plus a times x plus b is a trinomial. 2, the first term, x squared, is the product of x and x. 3, the coefficient of the middle term is the sum of a and b. And 4, the last term is the product of a and b. This type of trinomial is often expressed as, this, x squared plus bx plus c, which is what we're learning today. To factor a trinomial of the form x plus bx plus c, we need to determine two integers that, when added, equal b, when multiplied, equal c. We can then write them as two factors in which they are added to x. So here we can, let's try factoring x squared plus 10x plus 16 entirely. So here, let's make a chart of the factors here. All right, so the c term here is 16. So two numbers will multiply to 16 and add to 10, right? So b is equal to 10. Here we write out the factors of 16. 16 and 1. Negative 16 and negative 1. 8 and 2. Negative 8 and 2. Negative 4. Negative 4 and 4 and 4. All right. So we have written out the factors of 16. Now we just need to figure out which pair adds to 10 as well. So let's look at 16 and 1. Nope. They multiply to 16, but they add to 17. Well, negative 16 and negative 1. That adds to negative 17. So no, that's not what we're looking for. Let's look at 8 and 2. They multiply to 16 and they add to 10. So we will be factoring this trinomial into these. So these are the factors that work, all right? So c is equal to, c is the 16 here. C is equal to 16, which is equal to 8 times 2, right? The two factors here, 8 and 2. And then b is 10. b is equal to 10, which equals 8 plus 2, right? So these two numbers, they multiply to 16, they add to 10. So now we can factor it. X squared plus 10x plus 16 is equal to x plus 8, right? Two numbers here, a and b. We have figured out that a and b are 2 and 8, right? So x plus 8 times x plus 2. It does not matter which order you write this in. It could be x plus 2 times x plus 8. It doesn't really matter what order you write them in. So let's check if this method works. x plus 2 times x plus 8. Well, I'm running out of space here. All right. So let's apply the FOIL method. X times x. It's going to be x squared. And then outer x times 8 plus 8x. And then plus 2 times x, inner. And then the last two, 2 times 8 plus 16. So this will give us x squared, 8x plus 2x, combine the coefficients, 10x plus 16. All right, so does this match up with what we were going to factor? Yes, these two do match. So this is its factored form. Moving on. All right, so we're going to do some practice here. Factor entirely. X squared minus 10x plus 25. Let's do the chart again. The C here, the C value is 25. So what are the factors of 25? Well, 1 and 25, negative 1 and 25, and 5 and 5, and negative 5 and negative 5. All right. And then the b value is equal to negative 10 here. Remember, plus bx. In this case, it's adding a negative number, so it's equal to negative 10. All right, so which pair of these factors, they multiply to 25 and they add to negative 10. So 1 and 25, nope. Negative 1 and negative 25, nope. 5 and 5, nope. Negative 5 and negative 5, why yes, they multiply to 25 and they add to negative 10. So the C value here is 25, which is equal to negative 5 times negative 5, and B value is negative 10, which is equal to negative 5 plus negative 5, right? So we can factor this now. X squared minus 10x plus 25 is equal to x minus 5. Whoops, that looks like a 6 there. X minus 5. X minus 5. All right, and we can simplify this further. This is just x minus 5 squared, all right? Two of the same factors, multiplying each other. We can turn that into exponent, right? Now we factor this. Now, if you would do this for a long time, if you do a lot of these problems, right, you could just tell just by looking at it. You could tell which two numbers multiply to 70 and add to negative 17. Let me just draw this chart out real quick to make this clearer. It's equal to negative 17, right? So what are factors of 70? 70 and 1. Negative 70 and 1. Negative 1. 35 and 2. Negative 35 and negative 2. Do any of these pairs fit the criteria here? Add to negative 17 and multiply to 70. Not yet. 10 and 7. And negative 10 and negative 7. And voila. This is the pair we need. They multiply to 70 and add to negative 17. So here we can factor a squared minus 17a plus 70 is equal to a plus b plus one of the factors, right? Negative 10 a plus negative 7, the other factor here. So it's just minus 7. Plus negative 7 is minus 7. So this is the factored form. Now I'm going to do these ones. So we look at this trinomial. Whoopsies. We look at this trinomial here. We see that right now we can factor out something right off the bat. We look at all the coefficients here. They are all divisible by what? They're all divisible by 3. So we can first factor it into this. Minus 2x minus 15. right? Divide all these by 3. X squared, negative 2x, and negative 15, right? Now we factor this trinomial here. So when we factor out this trinomial, will become, right? Don't forget the 3 here though. 3 times this trinomial will become x minus 5 x plus 3, right? Two numbers that add to negative 2 and multiply to negative 15, 3 and negative 5, right? Negative 5 plus 3, negative 2, negative 5 times 3, negative 15, all right? So the final factored form is this. Let's look at another one. 2c squared minus 26c plus 60. See if you can do this on your own. Pause the video and try this. All right, I'm going to move on now. So what I can see right here is that we can factor out a 2 out of each of these terms here. So 2 times the entire equation now. C squared, right? 2c squared divided by 2 is c squared minus 13c plus 60 divided by 2, 30. Now, we find two numbers that add to negative 13 and multiply to 30. That would be negative 10 and negative 3, right? So, this will become 2. Don't forget the 2 here. It's multiplying by the entire thing here. So, c squared minus 13c plus 30. So, become c plus negative 10 minus 10 times c plus negative 3 minus 3. So this is the final factored form. All right? And let's try this. When we look at this, most people will, if they just started learning factoring, they will just immediately start factoring because they don't see a number in front of the x squared, right? So I don't know if I have mentioned this, but if you see a number in front of the first term, which has a degree of 2, you can't exactly start factoring it like the way we have factored it now. 2 numbers that add to the middle term and 2 numbers that multiply, right? We have to first separate. We have to first change the equation into something into a trinomial with the degree of 2 that does not have anything, a coefficient in front of the variable with the degree of 2, right? So here, we cannot just start factoring and check for numbers that add to negative 4 and multiply to 21. We must first factor out this, right? It's not a 1. If it's any number but a 1 in front of the variable with the degree of 2, we have to factor it first. We have to get rid of that. All right. So we can factor a negative 1 here, right? So x squared plus, right? We're just changing the signs in this. Plus 4x minus 21. All right, now we can factor this. This is a trinomial now. This is a proper one we can factor. So 2 numbers that add to 4 and multiply to negative 21. Well, I can think of 2 numbers, 7 and negative 3. 7 minus 3 is 4. 7 times negative 3 is negative 21. All right, so this will become x plus 7 and x plus negative 3, which is just x minus 3. Last one. Now try to pause the video and see if you can figure this out. I'll give you a tip right here. You factor out a 5 right here. There is a coefficient in front of a squared. You must factor that out. Get rid of that before trying to factor this. All right, I'll be moving on now. So, just like I said, we will factor out the 5 because we don't want any number in front of the a squared here. So 5. Can we factor this? Yes, we can. All these are divisible by 5. So 5, a squared minus 8a plus 16. All right. So 2 numbers that add to negative 8 and multiply to 16. Well, those 2 numbers are negative 4 and negative 4. So we can factor this. A plus negative 4, which is a minus 4, and another a plus negative 4, a minus 4. We can simplify this further. A minus 4 times a minus 4 is just, yep, you guessed it, a minus 4 squared. We'll make that better. A minus 4 squared. All right. All right, this is the end of the lesson for today. I hope you enjoyed, and have a great day.